Slope. Slope describes the steepness of a line. It is the ratio of the rise, which means vertical change, to the run, that's horizontal change. Remember, vertical is up and down, and horizontal is left to right. Slope, we use the letter M for slope. Rise divided by the run. This triangle is called a delta, it's a Greek letter. It means change. So the change in y, the change in vertical distance, divided by the change in x, the change in horizontal distance. Slope is a constant rate of change, and we've been practicing constant rates of change already. Example number 1, find the slope of the ramp. So here I've drawn a ramp, and you can see that this distance is 48 inches, and this distance is 10 inches. Slope is the rise over the run. So it rises 10 inches, that number goes on top, and the run, that's how long it is 48 inches, that goes on the bottom. 10 divided by 48. Well, you can simplify this, divide both of them by 2, and you get 5 over 24. So the slope of the ramp is 5 over 24. Vic number 1, this is slope due. It makes a cool face. This kind of line, where it looks like it's rising from left to right, is a positive slope. This line, where it's falling from left to right, is a negative slope. This is a vertical line, you see the U. A vertical line has an undefined slope. And here's a horizontal line. See the zeros? A horizontal line has a slope of 0. Make sure you remember these. Example number 2, find the slope. So I've drawn a graph, and this is the number of muffins purchased and the total cost. So I picked a couple points that are on the line, 2, 4, and 3, 6. And you can choose any 2 points as long as they fall on the line, and you can see where the crosshairs are so you can count them. So you start at one point and move to the next point. So I'm going to start at 2, 4, and if I count 1, 2, and then over 1. So I went up 2, that's the rise, and I went to the right 1, that's the run. 2 divided by 1 is 2. So the slope of this line is 2. Example number 3, find the slope. Now, this is finding the slope from a table. It says time in minutes, that's our x value, and pages left to read, that's our y value. So at 1 minute, they have 12 pages left to read. At 3 minutes, there's 9 pages left to read. At 5 minutes, 6 pages left to read. And at 7 minutes, there are only 3 pages left to read. To find the slope from a table, choose any 2 points from the table. So I'm going to choose this point and this point. It doesn't have to be 2 points next to each other. It doesn't have to be the first 2 or the last 2 or the middle 2. Just choose any 2 points from the table. Find the change in y's. So here are my y values, 9 and 6. The difference between 9 and 6, I'm going to say 9 minus 6, is 3. Then I'm going to find the change in the x values. Now, because I said 9 minus 6, I'm going to say 3 minus 5. I'm not going to switch up the order. 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And then find the slope. That's the change in y over the change in x. Well, you just found the change in y. It was 3. And you just found the change in x. It was negative 2. So the slope is negative 3/2, or negative 1.5. Vic number 2, the slope formula. You have to memorize it. M, that means slope, equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And I'll sing you a song about it during class. Example number 4, find the slope of the line that passes through the point R, 1, 2, and S, negative 4, 3. After you know the slope formula, it makes it so much easier to do these kinds of problems. You're going to label your points. So this is my first point. I'm going to call this X1, and and y, 1. My first point gets the little subscripts of 1. My second point will have 2's on it, x2 and y2. Now remember, every ordered pair is always x and then y. They're in alphabetical order. All you do is take these 4 numbers and plug them into the formula exactly where you see them. So y2 comes first, that's 3, minus y1. y1 is 2. I use a minus because the minus was in the formula. x2 is negative 4, minus x1, which is 1. And then you just simplify. 3 minus 2 is 1. Negative 4 minus 1 more is negative 5. So the slope is negative 1/5.